I love that our conversations take us all across, artists from north of the border, down in Texas, a lot of times in Nashville, but it's really cool when one of them is pretty close to home base here in Kentucky. And he's a Kentucky native. He's a country artist songwriter with his new EP Downtown coming out June 27th. Let's welcome in Tyler Booth.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
well, like I said, I love getting to talk to a fellow Kentuckian, and this is Bar Conversations, so I feel like with the songs you have just put out, is kind of fitting that I grab like a little mini bottle that is like unlabeled for my my drink tonight, but it's a little
Yeah.
it's a little Kentucky Senator bourbon. The guys from around here in Lexington, Central Kentucky, their latest release. So you got anything good, or what's your go-to drink these days?
Oh man. I like a lot of beer. I'm a big beer guy. I like bourbon too. Uh, but right now, usually what I'll sip on is like Yingling Lager. I don't know why. It's kind of darker. It's a lager. A lot of people grab for, like Coors Light, Michelob Ultra and stuff. I like that stuff, but if I'm wanting to sip on a beer, I like this. I don't know why. I can't find anybody else that likes it as much as I do. There's a couple of people I know that sip on them, but uh,
Hey, hey, I get it. I grew up, while I'm in Kentucky now and been here for over a decade, which is wild to think. I grew up near Pittsburgh, so Yingling was a beer of choice for me back in the day.
yeah, it's just I don't know, it's just a taste. Uh, it's a little bit darker than like all the light beers, and I like it pretty good. It's pretty heavy though. I could drink like two or three, and like that's as far as I can go with it. So that might be a reason why I like it because I don't have to drink as much of it.
Well, like I said, it's a good beer. I'm surprised that you didn't go with the little country boy. I mean, DH and the
Country
gang, are they
Boy's
going to be upset
great.
with you?
Dude, I'm surprised they don't have their shirt on. I got like four Country Boy shirts I wear all the time, and I need to make a visit up there and get stocked up on some Country Boy. That's probably why I'm not sipping on it right now.
I was going to say you are down a little ways away from their home base, and you know, I mentioned you grew up in Kentucky, or you're Kentuckian. What was it like growing up in a small town, Red River Gorge area, and I know now down you're making Eastern Kentucky your home again.
It was awesome. I think the thing about being from East Kentucky is like there's really not a lot to do. Like there's basketball uh and like bluegrass music and just music in general, but that's really like the two things you can do. I graduated with I think like 19, 20 kids, and it's either like play guitar or play basketball, and that's like the only two kind of uh after school things that there was to do. So I gravitated towards music, and I've just kind of stuck with it and try to be a student of it and learn as much as I can.
Well, and we'll touch base on that because I think you've had music. I think music's in your blood from what I read up about you, and you had some big life news though recently, and you got engaged. So
I do.
congratulations.
That was awesome. It was so much fun to do that, and it's something I was wanting to do for a long time. And I was out on a beach there in Sanibel Island, Florida, and I was like, well, if I don't do it now, when am I ever going to do it? And it was just so nice. We walked out there, and there was nobody there. It was dead quiet and uh, beautiful night. And I was like, all right, it's time to do it. And yeah, Reagan, she's been a great supporter of me, and she helps me in so many ways, and from keeping like my day to day lined out and what I need to do that day, and what time I need to wake up, like all kinds of stuff. So she's great, and yeah, we're really happy. It's awesome.
Well, I love that, and like I said, congratulations on that. That's a fun life move, and you know, on this new record that you put out down or are about to put out downtown EP, you actually wrote a song for her called Sunshine, which you just put out. One, props to you for actually, because I'm guessing it had to be perfect, or otherwise you can't release that thing.
Yeah. Oh, that was a song. That was like that whole batch of music right there that's fixing to come out on the 27th. it's the freshest music I've ever like made and then put out. I think most of those songs got recorded like 6 months to a year ago, so they're pretty new, really. And Sunshine was one I sat on for a while, and I knew it was special, and it was just a matter of figuring out what kind of project I can make to put that on there, and some of these other songs that were so good. And um, man, that one, I remember waking up one morning, I sat on my couch and looked out the window, and I saw the sunshine, and then uh, I seen Ray, and I had that guitar riff forever, and I started messing around with this drop open tuning, and it's funny when you start doing that, like different things come out, and it opens doors for like new kind of sounds and stuff. But I'd had that riff forever, and then I just looked out and seen the sunshine, and then I seen Ray, and then I was like, I need to write a song called Sunshine. So that's what I did. I used that melody, and I was really excited to get it out there. I'm excited for the EP. It's gonna be cool.
And what was Ray's reaction when she first heard it?
I think she liked it. I think she did. Yeah,
I was gonna say
yeah.
no pressure on that, right?
Yeah, no, that's yeah, they're usually is. I'm always nervous if I, especially if I write a song about her and letting her hear it and stuff. Uh and there's been times I'll play her stuff that she'll just tell me, she's like, I don't think this is your best work, But that one she actually liked a lot, so that made me feel good. I'm glad she liked it, yeah.
Well, like I said, it's a great taste of the new EP, and we'll dive into it in a little bit. But like I said, you've been around music, I think, all your life. Like I said, I think it's in your blood. So I mean, were you singing and doing stuff at like right when you could walk and talk?
Yeah, pretty much. My dad had a rock band back in the day, and I just remember being in the rehearsal rooms, and they'd be playing stuff, and I'd watch how they played the guitar. I'd kind of, you know, look at what they were doing and try to emulate it on um, a guitar that they had just sitting there. They kept one for me that way I could play along if I wanted to, and I learned how to tune the guitar, and I learned a few power chords and stuff like that, and that's how I got started. And then I just remember I used to try to write songs ever since I was 10 or 12 years old, and uh, I was trying to figure out what to do once I graduated high school. I really didn't know what I was wanting to get into, and uh, Morehead State University had a Kentucky Center for Traditional Music scholarship that they could give me if I went in and played a song for them, and if they liked it. So I ended up going in there and playing like a Waylon song and something else. I think it was an original, and I got a scholarship to go to that school, and it was awesome. I learned a lot about bluegrass and swing and old country and stuff like that, and yeah, so that's I've been chasing it ever since. It's been great. I love music.
Well, and like you said, you grew up around it. I mean, for me, one, I can't carry a tune. I can't play an instrument. I can talk to people that do it, and that's where I decided I needed to be. But like, I mean, to be able to tune a guitar at 6, like, I mean, that's got to be pretty cool when you think back on it. Like, you were tuning guitars, and then, like you said, you eventually kind of went for it a little bit more and learned a few more chords and things.
It did feel at the time like it was something I was getting, like I just had an inclination for it, and almost felt like I was like that was what I was supposed to be doing, like it really did feel like that. And then uh I learned as much as I could, and wrote songs, and I remember I went to college for 2 or 3 semesters, and uh the last semester I was there I wasn't doing real good in school, like I was about to fail. And my professor said, I can send this song that you wrote to a guy in Nashville if you want me to. He's a big songwriter, big producer. And I was like, well, heck yeah, that'd be awesome. Go ahead and do that. So he sent it down to a guy named Phil O'Donnell. And I got with Phil, and we wrote a bunch of great songs, and we made that first EP. And uh, and that got me introduced to songwriting and publishing deal and a record deal and all that started happening, and I just been chasing it ever since. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, and I know you play the guitar, and like you said, you kind of been dabbling with other things. I believe mandolin is something you play, and
Hmm.
how many instruments are you up to right now?
Well, so I can play like some flat picking, like bluegrass stuff, like fiddle tunes, stuff like that. And a lot of that I started picking up when I was in college and growing up and stuff. And then I started picking up the Telecaster, like electric country picking kind of stuff. So that's what I've been dabbling in here lately. It's like learn how to play like all that old classic country, like twangy Telecaster stuff. And but I think I picked up mandolin when I was 20 or something like that. And then I play a little bit of harmonica. I'm not the best harmonica player, but I play a little bit, and I play a little bit of piano too, just a tad of it, not a whole lot. That's the one I want to get into next. If I can learn how to play the piano, that'd be awesome.
I was gonna say you can just hop around on stage to all sorts of things at that point.
Yeah, I had the mandolin in the set for a while, but then like I started thinking, I was like, well, like it's hard to keep it tuned, and then it's hard to keep my acoustic tuned and my electric, and we don't really have a guitar tech, so three different instruments trying to keep them in tune, it just gets a little crazy. And on a mandolin, there's eight strings. There's really like four that's in the same like tune the same. There's four strings on it, but there's two of them like there's one right under that, so it gets kind of weird, like trying to tune it real fast when you're about to break into the next song in a set. So I was like, well, I might wait till I get a guitar tech before I bring it back into the set list.
I was gonna say those are things that you can always build back up toward, and you talk about your dad kind of managing rock bands and Uncle in it and things like that. I mean, what music did you grow up on?
Well, I remember whenever I was a kid, my grandparents would always listen to Johnny Cash, all the Cash records, and they would listen to my grandpa loves like James Brown and stuff like that even. So I was exposed to some of that, and then but it was really a lot of old country stuff. And at the time when I was a kid, it didn't really appeal to me. And I think it was because my grandparents were listening to it. I was like, well, this must be old people music. But so my first, what I really got into was rock and roll and stuff like that. And uh, so that's really what I got started with on the guitar. But uh, whenever I hit probably 15, 16 years old, I heard Jamie Johnson, and I was like, well, this guy sounds different. Like it doesn't sound like the radio kind of country, and it sounds edgy. And I was like, this guy sounds like he came from where I came from, kind of thing. So that it kind of struck me, and then I was like, well, who did he listen to that inspired him to sing that way and play that way? And it was Waylon. So I got into Waylon Jennings real good. And then I ended up going back to Johnny Cash, and I learned every Johnny Cash song there was. But uh, I think Folsom Prison Blues was the first song I ever played on a stage. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, I was exposed to all of it, and I really hit my country stride whenever I was about 14, 15 years old.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say, I mean, like I said, when I asked you earlier, growing up in Kentucky, you said there wasn't a ton to do in your hometown. I mean, but I mean, what impact does that? Because I mean, when you're writing songs and stuff like that, I mean, you're singing about places and doing, everything's from where you're from, right?
Yeah. Uh yeah, I think I was influenced a lot by uh a lot of the big artists that came out of Kentucky, like, you know, at the time, like Gary Stewart and Dwight Yoakam, and it was a little before my time, but I remember listening to all those guys and Keith Whitley being another one, and because you're from Kentucky, like we have so many
Hmm.
awesome country singers out here, Stapleton and Sturgill Simpson. It just goes on and on. There's so many. And I think I was really inspired by that, and I thought it was cool that they made a living just going out and playing music and singing, and I still think like Keith Whitley's one of the best ever. Like he was awesome. Yeah, good drinking songs.
I was gonna say, I think Keith and a lot of those guys, gave hope to a lot of other artists that are out
Hmm.
nowadays. And I think you've touched on this, but I mean, was there a thought of anything else besides music, or I mean, was it pretty much like music or bust for you?
It was weird because like I mean I was always kind of a shy kid, or like uh I didn't really have uh an aspiration to be a big singer or anything. Uh, I really wanted to learn how to play the guitar so I could play guitar for a living, but I guess I really didn't believe in myself that much, and until I started playing out, and uh, I'd always get a lot of good feedback from people, and then I started thinking, well, maybe I can do this, maybe I can make this happen, and it was just it was really my only passion. Like I thought, well, whenever I get out of high school, I'll just go to work or something because nothing in college really interested me. Like I couldn't think of a reason why I wanted to go to college. And my parents basically begged me to go, so I did, and I found a program that fit me really good. So I'm glad I went now because that music program was just awesome, and it opened a lot of doors for me, and I learned so much about music there, and I kind of feel like it was something that was meant to happen, you know.
Well, I mean, I was going to ask. I mean, how impactful was that scholarship to Morehead State? Because I'm guessing, like you said, you were able, your professor sent you, sent a demo tape down, and that's basically kind of the door to Nashville for you. I mean, I'm guessing, looking back, that was like you said, meant to be, and glad it happened.
Yeah, it was awesome. I learned so much, just like what it meant to be in a band, and like the craft of writing songs, and everybody around me that was in the program was writing awesome music, uh, and we were all put in a band together because we were meant to like rehearse all year, and then uh, at the end of the year we get up and we do 5 or 6 songs together. So it really taught me like the dynamic of a band and what it takes to make a full spectrum of like sound and things like that, and chemistry with the band and how harmonies work and just all the little nuances of music. It really did open the door for me about learning about it. It was awesome. It was a good experience for sure.
Well, and like you said, that kind of kickstarted you down to Nashville, and now you're on the independent track after being on a label for a little while. I mean, what's the journey been like for you? Because people might see all the fun stuff of the music and getting to do things, but what's the journey been like?
It's been awesome. I love every aspect of music. Like when it comes to songwriting, I love writing songs, and I love meeting people. Uh, I love playing shows, and just everything about it. I really like, and it's been interesting recently trying to figure out. Uh, how to do it without a label, and without a booking agent and stuff, so it's kind of been fun. I've been learning how to do all this stuff, and uh it's kind of helpful. Like I was actually talking to Brantley Gilbert about it a little bit, and he's kind of a outlaw in a way, but he was like, that's how I started too. He's like, I knew all the ins and outs of the business, and he's like, so you're on the right track. That's good. You're, learning that stuff. So that made me feel good. I feel like I'm doing something good. And like, I feel like the label isn't as, any label's really not as necessary as it used to be for artists because we got social media now. We can blast stuff out and thousands of people see it. And, just because somebody's on a label, it doesn't mean they get took to radio or anything like that. So it's kind of been fun learning how to do it without all that stuff. It's actually it's been great, really. I like it.
Well, I was gonna say you got a new EP coming out, Downtown. Was it was there more freedom in creating this one for you? Like, what was the feeling when you were able to kind of put these songs together and come up with this?
Yeah, yeah. So I really felt like it was all up to me, like making this project and putting it together, and it was basically me and two other guys that put it together. It was me, Steve Blackman, and John Johnson, and they're really good about music. Steve's a heck of an engineer and producer, and so was John. Uh, but the idea for Downtown came from John. He was like, uh, what if we took like some of the rootsier songs and bluegrassier and more of that, that down home thing, and we just call it Downtown because like if you go down on Broadway, that's all they're playing is like that bluesy kind of stuff and that rock and roll infused and more bluegrassy kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, I like that idea. So I stewed on it for a while and chewed on it, uh, and then I was like, it'd be really cool because everybody's got their own downtown where they came from. Like for me, it was downtown Campton, and for that artwork, I actually took a picture of downtown Campton, and that's the artwork for it. But it's funny because when you think downtown, you think, well, like some big city, and it could be that or it could be anything. But I kind of felt like calling it downtown would be like, I think it makes sense because the songs are more rootsy and organic and a little bit back to what I was doing when I first started playing music.
Well, I've gotten to listen to it, and it's a great EP, and people I think are going to be in for a treat. You put out a few songs like we talked about Sunshine, which is kind of an ode to your now fiance, and your first single of it though was Talkin White Trash. Can you talk a little bit
Mhm.
about how that one came to be?
Yeah, I remember I had that idea, and I just liked the way it sounded. Talking about trash, it sounded like a song, and I just remember having that. And it's funny, John Party's guitar player Terry Lee Palmer. He's a great guy and a great songwriter. But we had planned on writing together for 2 years, and we finally got a chance to get together and write. So I went over to his house, and uh, it was kind of funny because uh, when we wrote, I had that guitar lick, that boom, doo, 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 boom, doo. I had that, and he was upset because he's a guitar player. He's like, he's really good. He could play me under the table. Uh, but I had that guitar lick, and I had the title "Talking White Trash," and in my head, I was like, well, talking about trash could be like your dialect, like how you talk, or it could be the things we're talking about in the song. So I was kind of playing with that idea, and we knocked it out in like an hour. And I knew I wanted to cut it after that, so I went back and we recorded the song, and I think it sounds pretty good.
I love it, and you also put out a video for that one as well. How much fun was it making that?
It was fun. I remember we rented a big mansion and shot a bunch of stuff in it, and we also rented like a little shack, and it didn't even have heat in it, and it was in December, so we were freezing, or maybe it was January, February. It was cold, uh, but yeah, it was a lot of fun filming that. I think we got it all in a day, and it was just a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, and for folks that are going to be able to listen to these songs, is there one on there that you can talk about that you love, or is it just what is it? Talking White Trash, Sunshine? What one of those six? Because I know what I think Talking White Trash is I think my favorite, but I think I also like a couple of the other ones too.
Yeah, Freeborn Man, I think's on there. Uh, that's a good one. Tony Rice, bluegrass music. That was a big inspiration to me. And I don't really sound like a bluegrass singer, so it's fun, like coming up with my own version of it. And a lot of people got their own version. I think I heard Zach Top doing one, and uh, a few different people, but uh, I think ours came out really good, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play live. But probably my favorite might be "Sunshine." I just think it's a good song. That one's always stuck out to me.
I can get down with that, and I think the other one that I also thoroughly enjoyed was the humming song.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that one too.
like I said, the folks that when they get to listen to the full EP are going to really enjoy it because it's a lot of there. You can see the kind of the strings that tie it all together, but they're a little bit different. And like you said, go back to your roots. And you know, when you're writing songs like that, I mean, is it just an idea sometimes? Is it a lyric you heard somewhere, you write it down? Where does that inspiration for songs like those come from?
Oh, it's always something different. I remember I wrote humming song in like I think it was 20 minutes. I just had the first couple lines, and I never could come up with a hook. I sat there forever and tried to write a hook to it, and I couldn't come up with one. So I just hummed it out, and I just hummed the chorus, and I was like, well, I guess I'll just call it the humming song. But I kind of thought of it as like it felt like each verse was its own chapter in some kind of journal or something. It feels like it's kind of like progressing into something, but and it kind of ties back around, and it almost just feels like a journal entry, that song. But yeah, I couldn't ever come up with a hook for it, so I just hummed it, and we call it the humming song.
Hey, whatever works, right?
hmm But yeah, that one, it was just I had the first few lines, and then the rest of it just kind of fell out.
Well, and then, you talk about getting to write with certain people, for whether it was this EP or something else. And I know one, like you talked about him earlier, Jamie Johnson, idol, someone you looked up to. How cool was it when you got to write with him
It was
and get to meet
crazy,
him?
man. I was nervous. I was geeking out. I was just like a little kid in a candy store because like I've looked up to that guy forever, and he's got a really cool voice, one of the best ever, and uh, he's such a great songwriter. But I remember the first time I wrote with him was at his house, and we uh, we wrote a song, "Bring On the Neon." That was the first one we wrote together, and after that, he showed me Waylon's last Cadillac. It was in his garage, so that was really cool. But he's a fun dude. I was at his wedding last weekend and saw him there. But he's great. He's one of the best.
Well, and then you talked about some of the other ones that you've been able to write for. Are there any other collaborations you're still hoping to maybe manifest as you've been able to check a few off the list?
Yeah, I say me and Jamie probably end up doing one together. We talked about it a little bit, and but I'm always open to do collabs. I think they're fun, and it's kind of interesting because whenever, uh, like if I feature on somebody's song, I can kind of stretch a little bit. Like me and Coke Ford's working on a song right now, and it's going to be out before too long. I think there's a cat fight out there, like an actual cat. I heard it meowing and screaming like it might be fighting a raccoon or something. But oh yeah. Well, I don't know. I probably shouldn't say much more about it, but I am working on a feature right
I
now.
like it. Don't get yourself in trouble yet. Don't get yourself in
Yeah,
trouble.
I'm working on a couple. I'm excited. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And you talked about just a pure love of the journey and music. You're a road warrior. You perform a good bit. What's the best part about being on stage and getting to share the music?
Uh, I just love being able to get on stage and looking out there and seeing different kinds of people, like different colors, different sizes, and uh, different backgrounds. They all come together and they come there just to experience music and have a good time, uh, and it's like it's just a moment of like unity, and uh, it's just a good experience being able to, bring different people in and all kinds of, and let's just come together for one common goal of uh, experience and music together. It's awesome. I think that's my favorite part is like bringing people together. It's awesome.
Well, I mean, what was it like when you either heard people singing your songs back to you, or at least they talked about what one of those songs meant to you or to them?
That's always the best. Like as an artist, that's the biggest compliment. If somebody's like, a song helped me get through a hard time, uh, or like that's my favorite song ever. Like that's the biggest compliment an artist can get. I think to me, uh, that always makes me feel good. That's the best. It's like when somebody says that song is awesome. It's one of my favorites that just gives me a one of these. I just feel good. I'm gonna drink with you. I'll
I
pop me
love
a
it.
Yingling.
And I'm guessing that feeling never gets old either when they keep mentioning that and so forth, no matter how many times you hear it.
Yeah, I was I was in a gas station the other day, and uh, a guy was like, "I like that new song, Sunshine." That was like 2 days ago. So that's good that people know I got music coming out. So that's a good sign.
It is. And like I said, they're going to be in for a treat. And, as you've gotten to play places, I know you were able to go over to Europe recently and do a lot of cool things. What's it been like to kind of travel and go to places that you might never have thought you were going to ever get to?
Awesome. I had such a great time over there. My only complaint is that it's really cold sometimes, but the people are so nice. Uh, it's crazy how much we got in common with people that far away from us, but they love country music and yeah, they're great over there, and the foods are really good too. The food's awesome.
And like I said, you've been able to play a lot of different places, whether it's here or overseas. What bucket list places are still left for you? Where are you hoping to hit at some point?
Hmm. Uh, I'd like to visit Washington sometime. I think that's probably like the only place I haven't played, or Wyoming. I don't think I ever played Wyoming. Uh, I've been to Alaska, Hawaii. Never been to Hawaii. It'd be cool to play show there. I'd like to do the Opry again. That'd be cool.
What was it like when you did get to play the Opry?
It was awesome. Nervous and excited at the same time. Uh, it was a good time. It was awesome. Uh, I remember uh, Neil McCoy was there, I think, and he was really nice, and Pam Tillis was there, uh, and it was just a great time. It was awesome. Tanya Tucker was there too. She came up on a horse. It was the first time anybody ever rode a horse on stage. It was her, and she was a sweetheart, and yeah, it was great.
Well, I was gonna say lots of amazing experiences, and I always always start out asking folks, what their go to drink is. You got the Yingling, you're rocking it out
Mm.
right now. But I also love to ask this as we get toward the end, and that's what's your favorite song to perform live right now?
Ooh. Oh, that's tough. Maybe Sunshine, probably right
So
now.
yeah, I feel like you might be, hey, it's you're feeling, making sure your fiance's feeling loved, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if I ask, what's your second favorite to perform right now?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Mm, Talking White Trash, probably. Yeah.
I bet you that one's fun to play live, isn't it?
Yeah. Me and the guys haven't done it yet, but I do it acoustic, and it's a lot of fun. It's fun.
Well, like I said, you got Downtown EP coming out on June 27th. We got a whole lot more songs on that EP that people will finally get to listen to. So, what else can folks expect from you the rest of 2025? I mean, it's crazy to think May's almost over by the time this drops. It'll be June.
That's
I mean,
crazy. I want to gonna have this EP out, and then I got a bunch of songs that I need to try to get out before the end of the year or early next year. I'm gonna try to get a bunch more out, so there'll be a lot of more songs come out, and I'm excited about that. It's gonna be so much fun.
I was gonna say you never stop making music, do you?
Nope, I don't think I ever will. I love it.
And then are you gonna be able to share that music, hit the road any, get some shows going?
Oh yeah, yeah. I got some shows coming up. They haven't been announced, but I took a little bit of a hiatus from the road, but I got some shows coming up. I'm excited. CMA Fest will be fun. It'll be a good way to kick back into it, and yeah, I'm excited.
Well, I was gonna say, it sounds like folks need to, keep an eye out on your social media. They'll find some cool dates.
Yep.
And then I gotta ask this: for someone that said maybe was shy and all this, what's it like to make social media content these days? Because I'm guessing it's just random things at random places.
Yeah, I used to not be good at it, and then uh, for a long time I made myself get good at it. I just forced myself to do it basically, and then I got to a point where I liked doing it, and uh, ended up getting like 700 some thousand TikTok followers and stuff, and but now I just kind of post whenever I feel like it, basically, and just yeah, try not to stress too much about it. Yeah.
I was gonna say, what's it like to just randomly, decide to shoot some content one day? I mean, how much thought do you put into that? Like, are you thinking well ahead, or like, hey, we're gonna be in a spot, let's go do something fun today?
A lot of it's really spontaneous, and then sometimes it'll be like somebody in my team is like, "Man, make sure you try to get something posted about doing the anthem at somewhere," and so I'll do that. But a lot of it is just like out at dinner, being funny, or like uh, if I see something around the house that I think would be a good content, I'll just throw it up there and not put too much thought into it. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think my first time, because I've been a fan of yours for a good while, was I think you might have been down in the Red River Gorge when seltzers were finally becoming a big thing, and
Yeah.
you went to buy some seltzer. You were like, "What are these things at this gas station?"
Yeah, I was giving Seltzer the hard time there for a while. I sure was. It was funny. There were some good TikToks out of that.
I was gonna say, now, do you give seltzers a chance now, or still no go?
I might have drank one seltzer since I done those TikToks. So I'm not a big fan of them, but I have drank them. Yeah, I
There
have
you go.
drank them. I don't have anything against them. Yeah.
Well, man, I love how much fun you have. I love the music you're making, and folks, like I've said a few times, go listen to Downtown EP when it drops. And Tyler, man, thanks for sharing a drink with me and your story, man.
Man,
Cheers.
thank you. I had a blast. Hopefully we'll do it again sometime.
Absolutely.